We are always on life, and we are always finding out our legends history, our legend story. It's because of you. That's why I have choose to always give you a gist about our legends. And as we are in our independence time, independence month, we always, or what we are doing is to always find out whom our legends are and how they live their life and the role they use or move on. That's why we always tell you, we always like or we always want to follow the legends to pick up the good deeds of their living and left the bad deeds. Because what we believe is everybody has the good and the bad side of his or her life. So today, we are not going to look at nobody. Yesterday, we tried as much as possible to look at the history, just history about our president, Nana Akufo-Addo. But today, we are going straight to another side of our former president, who is now the late former president, Jerry John Rawlings. Jerry John Rawlings, he was born, this man was born in 22nd of June, 1947. So I think these times were the time Akufo-Addo was there, Rawlings was there, but Nkrumah was trying and eager fighting for independence. So I can say that Akufo-Addo, Rawlings, and all the young ones tried as much as possible to follow the route or the paved way of Kwame Nkrumah, the doctor. Oh, what's up, bro? Gatekeeper 170. Charlie, bro, we did. So we just want to look at. We just want to look at the history of our legends. Charlie, we did. Gatekeeper 170, Gatekeeper, we did. We want to look at the history of Jerry John Rawlings. This man was born in 1947 to 12 November 2020. May his soul rest in peace. He was a Ghanaian military officer, aviator and pilot. If he is not dead, we will say he. We are looking at the history of our president, former president, Jerry John Rawlings. Yes, please. And if he is not dead, we could have said he is the person or he is the one in charge of aviator, the game aviator. So he was aviator and a politician who led the country for a brief period in 1979. And from 1981 to 2001, CEO, he took the country from a brief period from 1979 and paused, and then later came in 1981. So from 1981, he stayed on power till 2001. I think this was what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah wanted to do. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah even sued or signed as a monopoly president. But I think this was not due to monopoly president, but it was due to military intervention in politics. Rawlings came to power in Ghana as a flight lieutenant of the Ghana Air Force following a coup d'etat in 1979. Prior to that, he led an unsuccessful coup attempt against the ruling military government until 15th May 1979. Just 5 weeks before scheduled democratic elections were due to take place. After handing power over to a civilian government, he took back control of the country on Thursday, 31st December 1981. So as his first coup, and in 1979 was not successful. He then later came in 1981 as the chairman of the Provisional National Defense Council, PNDC. So he came in with a political background or origin as PNDC, but later we find out that the P has been removed to make NDC. So let's see. In 1992, Rawlings resigned from the military-founded National Democratic Congress. So he then moved out from the PNDC and founded his own, but it was PNDC, but he founded NDC. That was National Democratic Congress, and became the first president of Fourth Republic. He was re-elected in 1996 for 4 more years. After 2 terms in office, the limit according to Ghanaian constitution, Rawlings endorses Vice President John Atanos as presidential candidate in 2000. So this is what we say, that we always look at what the legends do. See, Atanos was the vice president for Rawlings, but later Atanos became a president. It's same as Bawumia is a vice president for Akufo-Addo, but now he is the candidate for NPP. So it's like you learn from a leader, or you learn from a legend, then you know how to polish it to suit yourself. So in 1992, I think we have stated, okay, let's look at it again. Let's look at the background of Rawlings. Rawlings was born as Jerry Rawlings John on Sunday, 22nd June 1947 in Accra, Ghana, to Victoria Agbotui and Anio Ewe from Zulepope, Keta. I don't know if you have been to Rawlings Town before in the Volta region, and it's a nice place. And James Ramsey John, a British chemist from Castle Douglas in Kirkcudbright, Scotland. Rawlings attended Achimota School and a military academy at Teshi. Rawlings was married to Nana Kunadu Ajiman Rawlings, whom he met at Achimota College. That was a respect to them. As he was at Achimota College, then he met his wife, Nana Kunadu Ajiman Rawlings. Nana, sorry for losing such a humble and wonderful husband. They have 3 daughters, Zanita Rawlings, Jasantua Rawlings, Amina Rawlings, and 1 son, Kimati Rawlings. Junior Agogo was the nephew of Rawlings. I think Junior Agogo is no more. Junior Agogo is also dead, and he was a Ghana player, Ghana Black Stars football player. May your soul rest in peace. Let's look at education and military career of Rawlings. Rawlings finished his secondary education at Achimota College in 1967. Let me remind you this. We are doing all this because we are celebrating Ghana Month. So we need to know our legends. We need to find a little gist about their lifestyle. So right now we are looking at the lifestyle or the history of our former president, Jerry John Rawlings. Rawlings finished his secondary education at Achimota College in 1967. He joined the Ghana Air Force shortly afterwards on his application. The military switched his surname John and his middle name Rawlings. So that's that's how he became John Rawlings. In March 1968, he was posted at Takoradi in Ghana Western region to continue his studies. He graduated in January 1969 and was commissioned as a pilot. Do you know that 1969 Nkrumah was dead because he was overthrown. And in 1969, I think everything on the lifestyle of the new Ghana we had was at a shake. But that time, this man was also doing his thing. So in 19 what? Let's look at in March 1968. He was posted to Takoradi. Okay, so in 1969, and was commissioned as a pilot officer, waiting to continue his studies. He graduated in January 1969 and was commissioned as a pilot officer, winning the converted Speedbird Trophy as the best cadet in flying the Su-7 ground attack supersonic jet aircraft, as he was skilled in aerobatics. He earned the rank of flight lieutenant in April 1978. During his service with the Ghana Air Force, Rawlings perceived a deterioration in discipline and morale due to corruption in Supreme Air Force. Rawlings perceived a deterioration in discipline and morale due to corruption in Supreme Military Council, as promotion brought him into contact with the privileged classes and their social values. His view of the injustice in society hardened. He was thus regarded with some unease by the SMC. The SMC is the Supreme Military Council. So after the 1979 coup, he involved himself with the student community of the University of Ghana, where he developed a more leftist ideology through reading and discussion of social and political ideas. So this is where his mind started venturing into politics. But let's look at what happened in 1979. The coup, there was a coup and purges. So Rawlings grew discontent with Ignatius Kutu Echampong. Rawlings grew discontent with Ignatius Kutu Echampong government, which had come to power through a coup in January 1972. So see, in 1972, the Echampong government was also in a military field, but through coup, they came into power. Echampong was accused not only of corruption, but also of maintaining Ghana's dependency on pre-colonial powers in a situation which led to economic decline and impoverishment. Rawlings was part of the Free African movement, an underground movement of military officers who wanted to unify Africa through a series of coups. On Tuesday, 5th May 1979, 5 weeks prior to civilization election, Rawlings and 6 other soldiers staged a coup against the government of General Fred Akufo, but failed and were arrested by the military. He was a military, he failed a coup, and he was arrested by the same military. Rawlings was publicly sentenced to death in general court-martial and in prison, although his statement on the social injustice that motivated his action won him civilization sympathy. While awaiting execution, Rawlings was sprung from custody on Monday, 4th June 1979, by a group of soldiers, claiming that the government was corrupt beyond redemption and that new leadership was required for Ghana's development. He led the group in a coup to oust the Akufo government and Supreme Military Council. Shortly afterwards, Rawlings established and became the chairman of a 15-member Armed Forces Revolutionary Council. So you see, as he was sentenced to death, his partners or part of the society, the community, came in and said this is injustice because you yourself, you yourself, the governance you are doing is not up to the standard we are expecting. So he was released. Rawlings said, okay, so primary composed of junior officers, he and the AFRC, Armed Forces Revolutionary Council, ruled for 112 days and arranged the execution by firing a squad of 8 military officers. Papa now no young colonial sentence or fire and for including General Kote, Joy Amidume, Roger Fele, and Utaka, as well as the 3 former Ghanaian head of state. So he fired a champion, Akofo and Akwesi Afrifa. These were the guys who wanted him to be sentenced to death. But as he came back, as he was released, he fired these people. They didn't die by their natural death, but he fired them. Go away. These executions were a dramatic event in the history of Ghana. So one day we'll try as much as possible to go into details of these that were fired, because it's part of the history of Ghana. As we are legends, we need to know things like this for it to help us polish our lifestyle. Which had previously suffered few instances of political violence. Rawlings later implemented a much wider house cleaning exercise involving the killings and abduction of over 300 Ghanaians. That was a time, if you joke, you better basa, you better wabo so. You say, "Ooh, Jimmy," that's how Rawlings thought it was, or that's how it was going on. Obi wo emo a store, but the person will hold it until it becomes scarce. Now, if we were here, so all these were things that was going on. Rawlings thought it was not good. So Rawlings later implemented a much wider house cleaning exercise involving the killing and abduction of over 300 Ghanaians. Elections were held on time shortly after the coup on Monday, 24th September 1979. Power was peacefully handed over by Rawlings to President Hela Liman. So see, after everything, Rawlings said, no, let me sit back. Let them do their politics. So they sit back for Hela Liman continue. Whose People's National Party, PNP, had the support of Nkrumah's followers. 2 years later, on 31st December 1981, Rawlings out-tested President Hela Liman in a coup d'etat, claiming that civilian rule was weak and the country's economy was deteriorating. This same person came again. This same person, Rawlings, came back to do a coup against Liman because his governance was not in accordance on their expectations. So let's look at 2 years later, on 31st December 1981, Rawlings out-tested President Hela Liman in a coup d'etat, claiming that civilian rule was weak and the country's economy was deteriorating. The killing of the Supreme Court judges, Cecilia Cranton Addo, Frederick Sarkodie, and Kojo Ajima. Military officers Major Sam Apa and Major Dasana Nantogma also occurred during the sleeping on to give you the live feed of our program. And this is the gist or the legends history that we are always trying as much as possible to give to you. Let's look at 1981, what happens during the Rawlings time. there was coup and reforms. So coup and reforms, believing the Liman regime to be unable to resolve Ghana's neo-colonial economic dependency, Rawlings led a second coup against Liman and indicted the entire political class on 31st December 1981. In place of Liman's People National Party, thus PNP. PNP also came in. Rawlings established the Provisional National Defense Council, PNDC, military junta as the official government. Rawlings hosted state visits from revolutionaries from other countries, including Desibotes, that's Suriname, Daniel Ortega, Nicaragua, and Sam Nujuma, Namibia. More famously, Rawlings reversed Liman's boycott of Gaddafi's Libya, allowing the Black Stars to complete in 1982 Africa Cup of Nations. The team won the AFCON trophy for the fourth time. Their last win was 2022. Although the PNDC claimed to be representative of the people, it lacked experience in the creation and implementation of clear economic policies. Rawlings, like many of his predecessors, attributed economic and social problems to the trade malpractice and other antisocial activities of a few business people. In December 1982, so let's wait before I say it. In 1982 December, the PNDC announced its 4-year economic program of establishing a state monopoly on export-import trade with the goal of eliminating corruption surrounding import licenses and shift trade away from dependency on Western markets. Unrealistic price controls were imposed on the market and enforced through coercive acts, especially against business people. The resolve to employ state control over the economy is best demonstrated by the destruction of the Makola No. 1 market. The PNDC established Workers' Defense Committee and People Defense Committee to mobilize the population to support radical changes to the economy. Price controls on the sale of food were beneficial to urban workers, but placed undue burden on 70% of the rural population, whose income largely depended on the prices of agricultural products. Rawlings' economy policies led to an economic crisis in 1983. So these are some of the reasons why 83 crisis came, forcing him to undertake structural adjustment and submit himself to election to retain power. Elections were held in January 1992, leading back Ghana to multi-party democracy. So Ghana started its multi-party democracy in 1992, up to date, or up to this year, 2024. So at the end of the year, we will go in to cast our vote to decide who we want him or her to lead us in this upcoming December. So there's a just history about Rawlings, and we can look. We wanted to look at the election and policy reforms he made. So let's jump straight to the policies and reforms he made. Rawlings established the Economic Recovery Program (ERP) suggested by the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund in 1982. Due to the poor state of economy after 18 months of attempting to govern it through administrative control and mass mobilization. The policies implemented caused a dramatic currency devaluation and removal of price controls and social service subsidies which favored farmers over urban workers, and privatization of some state-owned enterprises, and restraint on government spending. Funding was provided by bilateral donors, reaching $800 million in 1987, and in 1988, and $900 million in 1989. Between 1992 and 1996, Rawlings aimed control over the judiciary and civil society, allowing a more independent Supreme Court and publication of independent newspapers. Opposition parties operated outside a parliament and held rallies and press conferences. So this is how the policies and reforms he made, but we have been cleared, and it has been cleared to us that because of the policies he made in 1982, that caused the drought, that caused the 83 food shortage. So in 1983, there was a food shortage all over the country because he decided to come out with a new policy, and the new policy was monopoly, or let's stop exportation, let's stop importation. So he tried as much as possible best to do all this to safeguard Ghana. And this is what we are living in Ghana today. So look at Ghana today and compare to the old days on their policies making. Has it give us an impact, a beneficiary, or it has give us a bad impact? What do you think? You can share your comment under. You can give us your feedback on the history of our former president, who is no more but dead. We say sorry to the family deceased. Thank you. We have to end here, and we will come back shortly after a period of time to give you the another one we are about to give you is today's weekend. We want to look at the entertainment side, which are all booming towards the democracy or our independence celebration. So good morning once again. This is Ghana. Welcome.